Today's video is about how to answer questions properly. Often you'll see answer in proper sentence format or answer the question in academic terms. So I'm just going to outline some of the things that you should do in order to answer a question properly. So here are some steps for answering a question. The first thing that you should do is make sure you number your response. So if there are 7 questions on the question sheet, for question 1 you should have a 1 beside it. And you should always use part of the question in your response so that the person that's reading your response knows what question you were asked. The next thing that you should do is make sure you provide evidence and details as well as reasoning for your response. You should also check for spelling and grammatical errors as well as for proper punctuation. And if you're doing your answers on a Word document or any other type of word processing document, it will underline the words that you need to check to see if they're spelled correctly. Grammatical errors are also underlined, and so you can click and see what the suggestion is to improve on that. So I'm going to give you an example. So here's the question. Explain the difference between TikTok and Instagram. I knew you guys would enjoy this because you should all know the answer because you seem to be on TikTok more than you're on your school websites. Okay, so here are a few responses that I would probably get if I asked this question of my students. Instagram is a photo sharing app and TikTok is for videos. And if you take a look, TikTok, the T-I-K, is underlined in red. And if I actually click on it, it will actually tell me what's wrong with it. So hang on one sec. Oh, I've got my drawing tool on. So it gives me suggestions, and we know that TikTok is spelled that way because it's a brand name, so we don't really have to worry about that it's misspelled. Instagram is better than TikTok for pictures, but TikTok is better for videos. So this is the type of answer I would get from a student. Here's another type of answer. I like TikTok better than Instagram because they are funnier. And this is a funny response because it's so not academic. It does not follow any of the rules about answering a question, but it's a typical response that I would get from students. And then here's another response. They are both social media accounts, but they are not the same because TikTok is like a video sharing website and Instagram is like a photo sharing website. You can also have videos on Insta, but they can be long, but TikTok has shorter videos. So we're going to look through each of these responses and we're going to look and see what's wrong with each of them. So let's just remember the steps that we have to use. Number your response, use part of the question in your response, provide evidence, and check for spelling and grammatical errors. So let's take a look here. So the first mistake that all of them made is that they did not number them, okay? So because up here, number 1 is the question. So these all should have a number 1 in front of them. So this should say number 1, okay? Instagram is a photo sharing app and TikTok is for videos. So this one did not follow the rule that you should use part of the question in your response. It's also missing evidence and details as well as reasoning. And it also has some spelling or grammatical errors. Let's take a look and see. It doesn't have a period at the end. And the next one, same thing, it's missing the 1. It does not provide evidence or reasoning. The third one doesn't even answer the question. This one says, I like TikTok better than Instagram because they are funnier. Okay, so it misses the mark on the question. This last one does give some details, but there's quite a few problems TikTok over here, it's a proper name, so it should be capitalized and written the proper way. We should not use Insta, even though that's how we say it when we're talking to our friends. We should use the proper name. There's no period. Well, actually, there's quite a few sentences or statements in this, but there's no period at the end. And their grammar is quite poor. So they are both social media accounts, but they are not the same, because TikTok is like a video sharing website and Instagram is like a photo sharing website. You can also have videos on Instagram, but they can be long, but TikTok has shorter videos. So this is a very poorly written. There's lots of ideas, but they don't use the proper sentence structure and grammar. So now I'm going to take you to an answer that your teachers are looking for. Okay, so first of all, the question number is referenced 1. They use part of the question in the answer. The difference between TikTok and Instagram is that TikTok is a video sharing website where anyone can post a short and then they give you the answer 15-second video. Instagram started out as a photo sharing website, but you can also post videos and you can post 24-hour stories that share a snapshot of your life for 24 hours. TikTok is a more youthful-minded website with wacky dancing and silly jokes and people playing practical jokes on their friends, and appeals to younger people because the content is much shorter. So do you notice how there are so many details and information provided? And it says in the question, explain. And explaining means providing information. When you explain something, you have to assume that the person that you're explaining it to has no idea what you're talking about. TikTok is similar to America's Funniest Videos because the videos are very short, but without the annoying host. TikTok is a less serious site and contains many silly videos that appeal to younger audiences. Instagram is more of an advertising and celebrity site where influencers post videos about products and other things they are promoting, or where people post pictures of themselves posing. The videos on Instagram are much longer and more involved. So you can see that this is the type of answer that you should be providing when you're asked to explain something. It should never be anything like any of these responses. I'm just going to show you that if you click on the red part, it will give you suggestions for the proper spelling of the word, but we know that TikTok is spelled that way, so we're just going to ignore all. And then if you take a look here, similar to is underlined, and it says that more concise language would be clearer for your reader. More concise, if you use the word like would be acceptable, but we also want to get in the habit of using better language, more sophisticated language. So you could change it, so all you would have to do is click and it will change TikTok is like, but I prefer sophisticated language, and I'm going to use similar to. And if you take a look, all of the red underlined things are gone. There's nothing that indicates anything is wrong with this except for that one that I changed, and I think it's a better choice of words. It's a more sophisticated choice of words. There's no suggestions for periods or commas or punctuation changes, so that would be something that I would be confident that would be a good response. So make sure that when you're answering questions and your teacher asks you to answer in proper format, this is the way you respond to a question that asks you to explain.